It's so fucking beautiful. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm so fucking thankful. I can't stop crying. I'm getting tears all over my freaking book. I'm not gonna read the full entire thing start from finish. I'm just gonna read the main kind of part that's got me tearing, but the whole thing is fucking beautiful. It's the book on the taboo against knowing who you are by Alan Watts. Oh my fucking god, it's the best thing I've ever fucking read. It's the best fucking book I've ever read in my life. Oh my god. But if I had read it 10 years ago, I maybe would not have been able to appreciate it as much as I can now. Oh, it's so fucking good. At this level of existence, I am immeasurably old. Actually, here, let me go further back from that. As is so often the way, what we have suppressed and overlooked is something startlingly obvious. The difficulty is that it is so obvious and basic that one can hardly find the words for it. The Germans call it a Hintergedanke, an apprehension lying tacitly in the back of our minds, which we cannot easily admit even to ourselves. The sensation of I as a lonely and isolated center of being is so powerful and commonsensical, and so fundamental to our modes of speech and thought, to our laws and social institutions, that we cannot experience selfhood except as something superficial in the scheme of the universe. I seem to be a brief light that flashes but once in all of the aeons of time, a rare, complicated, and all too delicate organism on the fringe of biological evolution, where the wave of life bursts into individual sparkling and multicolored drops that gleam for a moment, only to vanish forever. Under such conditioning, it seems impossible and even absurd to realize that myself does not reside in the drop alone, but in the whole surge of energy which ranges from the galaxies to the nuclear fields in my body. At this level of existence, I am immeasurably old. My forms are infinite, and their comings and goings are simply the pulses or vibrations of a single and eternal flow of energy. The difficulty in realizing this to be so is that conceptual thinking cannot grasp it. It is as if the eyes were trying to look at themselves directly, or as if one were trying to describe the color of a mirror in terms of colors reflected in the mirror. Just as sight is something more than all things seen, the foundation or ground of our existence, and our awareness cannot be understood in terms of things that are known. We are forced, therefore, to speak of it through myth, and that is, through special metaphors, analogies, and images which say what it is like, as distinct from what it is. At one extreme of its meaning, myth is fable, falsehood, or superstition, but at another, myth is a useful and fruitful image by which we can make sense of life in somewhat the same way we can explain electrical forces by comparing them with the behavior of water or air. Yet myth in this second sense is not to be taken literally, just as electricity is not to be confused with air or water. Thus, in using myth, one must take care not to confuse image with fact, which would be like climbing up the signpost instead of following the road. Myth, then, is the form in which I try to answer when children ask me those fundamental metaphysical questions which come so readily to their minds. Where did the world come from? Why did God make the world? Where was I before I was born? Where do people go when they die? Again and again, I have found that they seem to be satisfied with a simple and very ancient story, which goes something like this. And this is where I start getting tears all over my pages. There was never a time when the world began, because it goes round and round like a circle, and there is no place on a circle where it begins. Look at my watch, which tells the time. It goes round, and so the world repeats itself again and again. But just as the hour hand of the watch goes up to 12 and down to 6, so too there is day and night, waking and sleeping, living and dying, summer and winter. You can't have any one of these without the other, because you wouldn't be able to know what black is unless you had seen it side by side with white, or white unless side by side with black. In the same way, there are times when the world is, and times when it isn't. For if the world went on and on without rest forever and ever, it would get horribly tired of itself. It comes and it goes. Now you see it, now you don't. So because it doesn't get tired of itself, it always comes back again after it disappears. It's like your breath. It goes in and out, in and out. And if you try to hold it in all the time, you feel terrible. It's also like the game of hide and seek, because it's always fun to find new ways of hiding, and to seek for someone who doesn't always hide in the same place. God also likes to play hide and seek, but because there is nothing outside of God, he has no one but himself to play with. But he gets over this difficulty by pretending that he is not himself. This is his way of hiding from himself. He pretends that he is you and I and all the people in the world, all the animals, all the plants, all the rocks, and all the stars. In this way he has strange and wonderful adventures, some of which are terrible and frightening, but these are just like bad dreams, for when he wakes up, they will disappear. Now when God plays hide and pretends that he is you and I, he does it so well that it takes him a long time to remember where and how he hid himself. But that's the whole fun of it. Just what he wanted to do. He doesn't want to find himself too quickly, for that would spoil the game. That is why it is so difficult for you and me to find out that we are God in disguise, pretending not to be himself, But when the game has gone on long enough, all of us will wake up, stop pretending, and remember that we are all one single self. The God who is all that there is, and who lives forever and ever. Of course, you must remember that God isn't shaped like a person. People have skins, and there is always something outside our skins. If there weren't, we wouldn't know the difference between what is inside and outside our bodies. But God has no skin and no shape because there isn't any outside to him. The inside and the outside of God are the same. And though I have been talking about God as he and not she, God isn't a man or a woman. And I have a side note, they, because back when Alan Watts wrote it, people traditionally use he, but in all of this I would swap he for they as well, you can read it. However, I didn't say it because we usually say it for things that aren't alive. And this goes back into my whole kind of, it's not my kind of, it's a thing that's existent since Plato, and I guess maybe since the dawn of humankind, and maybe for all of eternity, the concept of panpsychism, which is the game I want to make. In which everything's alive, and so right here that also really resonates with me on that too. Doesn't say it because we usually say it for things that aren't alive, but everything is alive, even what we typically think is non-living, or so how I see it, or my best guess currently, right? God is the self of the world. But you can't see God for the same reason that, without a mirror, you can't see your own eyes, and you certainly can't bite your own teeth or look inside your head. Yourself is that cleverly hidden because it is God hiding. You may ask why God sometimes hides in the form of horrible people or pretends to be people who suffer great disease and pain. Remember, first, that he isn't really doing this to anyone but himself. Remember, too, that in almost all the stories you enjoy, there have to be bad people as well as good people. For the thrill of the tale is to find out how the good people will get the better of the bad. Another thing here that I feel like would be worth mentioning is that, good or bad is also kind of an illusion, right? Because it's just simply people absent of that love, that self-love, of that understanding. Hatred is just fear, anger is just sadness, and it's born from ignorance and perpetuated by indifference. And I think also the thrill of the tale is not just to find how the good people get the better of the bad, but how the bad people, I guess, become good people. In general, I don't view bad people any less valuable than good people. Not that that's what he's saying here, but it's just someone may get the implication of that because that's how we typically frame it in our society and in our stories, is that bad people are bad, like intrinsically bad, and the good people are the good ones, intrinsically good, when really no one's intrinsically any one thing. Everyone and everything is infinite, ineffable, which is infinite, right? And so it's just labels we put onto other people or put onto ourselves, and in doing so we leave a massive blind spot because we pick one label out of the infinite in which we could have chosen. And so it's about trying to understand ourselves, observe, and, refine our guess over time. Anyways, it's the same as when we play cards. At the beginning of the game, we shuffle them all into a mess, which is like the bad things in the world. But the point of the game is to put the mess into good order, and the one who does it best is the winner. Then we shuffle the cards once more and play again, and so it goes with the world. Oh my God. I don't remember the last time I cried over a book. And I don't think I've ever cried this hard over a book. Never, I don't think. It's just so fucking wonderfully written. And of course, I didn't read a lot of the pages leading up to it before that would give a lot more context and specifically what he means. Like, for example, he talks about how religion is divisive, and the point of the book is not to make a new religion or a new Bible. It's that there needs... I'm even looking at the page right now. We do not need a new religion or a new Bible. We need a new experience, a new feeling of what it is to be, quote-unquote, I. The lowdown on life is that our normal sensation of self is a hoax, or at best, a temporary role that we are playing, or have been conned into playing. But yeah. Also, he says as well, irrevocable commitment to any religion is not only intellectual suicide, it is positive unfaith, because it closes the mind to any new vision of the world. Faith is, above all, openness, an act of trust in the unknown. And this is something I have said a billion times in the past as well, in a different way, in a sense of where the unknown and this change, this flow of change, is precisely what brought us life to begin with, and so to all the great things in life. We have every reason to trust it. This eternal flow of change, where everything changes except for the inevitability of change itself. And so, yeah, and the unknown is what we usually, the ignorant, immature mind views the unknown to be the greatest fear, but in reality, it is the greatest gift. For, like Watts says in his book, right, the book, is that, it always allows for a new, different game of cards. It never gets tired of itself. There's always a new way to play. There's infinite potential in the next moment. A brand new thing that you get to experience because you changed into the unknown. God, it is beautiful. I'm pretty sure as well in a lot of indigenous American cultures and tribes, their original name for God, the Great Spirit, in a lot of their languages, directly just translates to the Great Unknown. Again and again, it just repeats itself in different new ways. And that's what it means to be alive, is change. My mind is completely clear, yet because it is trying to experience, or the byproduct of once again fully realizing this kind of stuff, is trying to experience all the emotions all at once. Well, I guess not all the emotions, but I guess just this overwhelming feeling of love. Of just peace. Where I want to shout every word imaginable of gratitude and thanks, but it would never be enough. And so I say nothing. I think nothing. Yet everything still. And everything's still gonna be enough. Everything's perfect. Every state of the way, it's perfect. Oh God, it's so fucking beautiful. I want to make something, or maybe multiple things, that makes someone else feel like this makes me feel. It's just so sobering and cathartic and the biggest breath of fresh air where you can just see everything. Again, like how Watts says that it's not seeing it what it's exactly like, but what it is like. What it has always been like. An analogy, a symbol, an archetype, a subjective approximation at the objective and the forever changing and evolving. And even earlier in the book, he also talks about how the rules keep changing and again and again and again and again and again and again. And that's the gift, because if the rules didn't change, if the game didn't change, if we just kept playing it again and again, we would get tired of it so quickly. But you never get tired of it because it's always new. And that's exactly why I say heaven is now. The present moment and all of the present moments. This is heaven. And we didn't even know it. And I know it sounds like I'm like crying out of like the deepest sadness, but that couldn't be any further from how it feels, from the truth. Oh my God. It's just it's just everything. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. Oh, it's so perfect. Oh my God, it's a fucking masterpiece. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. Oh, I couldn't be more thankful. Yes. Oh my God, it's fucking beautiful. I wish everyone could feel this. Oh my fucking god. And that's why I do what I do, I guess. The greatest joy is gifting joy. Gifting wisdom. The gift of giving. And the reward simply being in giving. The act of giving. Sharing yourself. Oh my god. It's just... Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. Oh, thank you. Oh my god. It's all already been figured out. It's already perfect. No matter what happens, no matter what, it always works out. Everything I've ever been through just to make it to this moment, everything was worth it. Oh my god. This is the before life, current life, and afterlife. The most obvious thing ever, and it was right there. Death is a lie. Death is just another change, and change is life. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. And a goddamn book that's only $1.65. It's just fucking incredible. Oh, it's just fucking incredible. I don't know when I'm gonna stop crying over this. I feel like I could cry and laugh and cheer for fucking infinity. Oh my god, it's so fucking beautiful. And I've never even done fucking drugs, bro. I deliberately don't take them just so I can say that. So anyone who's listening to this audio log, right? Oh my fucking god. Everything I work for, everything I try to be, I want to be a bridge I want to be someone who gives the best I fucking possibly can to every fucking person I meet. Because none of us are enemies. We're all the same thing. We just act out of hate and violence because we don't understand and because we're scared. Scared of the unknown. And meanwhile, it's the fucking greatest gift imaginable. Oh. We've always just been hurting ourselves. Oh. Oh. At every level, at every scale, in every way, it is God. It is heaven. We have always been in heaven. And when we can't see it, it's what we call hell. And it's so obvious when you see it. And often we take all the wrong paths before we realize the last path left is the one we've always had right there. Like Watt says, wait, let me see exactly the word he uses. I think he uses the word, so startlingly obvious. Oh. Oh. I wish everyone could feel this in their own unique and infinitely beautiful way. In every infinite different way. Oh God, it's just so perfect. It's like that one line from this Jesse Wells song. Nothing really dies down here, does it? It just goes where it belongs. And everything belongs. Everything belongs. Everything is forever changing and growing and evolving. Never gets tired of itself. It's so fucking perfect. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. Imagine a world where, oh God, I'm just thinking of a world where everyone could see this. In their own beautiful ways. And stop fighting each other. Stop fighting ourselves. Everything is infinite, equal, and yet still unique. Even a difference in position is difference, and to be different is to be weird. And anything that is different from the nothingness. And so everything is beautifully weird and absurd. And that's what art is. That's what beauty is. That's what love is. That's what fucking everything is. I could cry and rejoice over this for all of eternity. But even that inevitably changes. That's the beauty of it. The only true death is no change. But everything inevitably changes. And so nothing dies. Oh my God. A lot of people would hear this and all this stuff I'm saying, and me sounding absolutely maniacal and manic and everything, and oh my God. And I totally understand that, right? The beauty itself is even being able to see things in an infinite number of different ways. And anyone who may be listening to this will completely view it and hear it and analyze it in a completely different, unique way. And that's the beauty of it. That's the fucking perfection in it. The difference. The difference. To be different from the nothing, to be different from each other, to be unique, yet forever growing into more unique and perfect and whole states, each and every present moment, every iteration of now. And it never gets tired of itself, truly. Because even it being tired of itself changes too. Inevitably. Life is not objectively meaningful, but that doesn't mean it is objectively meaningless either. It all simply is. And you can do what you will with that out of all of infinity. And that's the joy. That's life. That's to be alive. To change and grow and explore more and more and more of infinity. Forever and never. Never and forever. Beyond the illusion of dichotomy, beyond duality, both and neither, not one or the other. Oh, fuck. It's so simple. Like one of my bumper stickers says, that I wrote. So I guess what I say, one of the things I said or have written. We are all equals, wanting unconditional love to reign free for all, but get stuck up on fighting over how we tell it. I truly hope I don't even have to be alive to experience it. And perhaps even we completely extinct ourselves, but inevitably are reborn from nothingness once again, for we were already dead before we were born. And so us existing is direct evidence and proof that there is potential for us to exist, and given enough time, enough change, even change between existence and non-existence, or the whole universe being alive and not being alive, or the world being there or not being there, or out of all the infinite worlds and stars and perhaps infinite universes as well, and beyond comprehension, even beyond our system of logic, right? If such a thing is even possible, if everything's intertwined, right? Again, it's about giving it your best guess. And since we're in the system of logic currently, it's about giving the best guess we can within, a system of logic. And everything points to the most obvious answer, which is what I've been talking about. But and even after, again, this cycle of death and rebirth again and again for all of infinity, inevitably we will re-emerge. Perhaps in a different species, in a different life, in a different, maybe eventually intelligent life form, or perhaps to humans again eventually. I don't even know. Right? And then you get another chance. And you go a completely brand new way. Playing a brand new game. Maybe different rules. Right? Different archetypes, different... all of this, right? To be alive is to change. To be is to have changed from not being. And I suppose to not be is to have changed from being. Right? Like Watt says as well, a circle. There is no start, there is no end. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is only change. That's a Papa Roach. It's a Papa Roach lyric from Tightrope. But again, inevitably, we will be reborn. Even if not in this life, or even in this whole universe is lifetime. Eventually, on some planet, and in some way, maybe in some universes, we will, as also Watt says, see who wins the game the best. And it's not just about winning the game, it's about playing it. The whole point is that the whole thing is a journey. There is no end. The point is the journey. You never truly reach an end destination, because the end destination is now a new starting point for another journey. Every instant is death and rebirth. Every instant is the end and the beginning. The death of the previous present moment in order for the next present moment to be born. That's how it goes. And so inevitably, by what I think would be quote-unquote winning the game, is global transcendence, or maybe universal transcendence. And what I mean by that is simply aware. If consciousness is awareness, then higher awareness is achieved through higher wisdom in analyzing what reality tells us, not what we tell and try to impose onto reality, for that is what an immature mind does. Thinking that you control everything. That is the way of a narcissist. That is the way of the ego. And just as Watts also says in his book, that is a hoax. It is a hoax. Everything is interconnected. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe. And the universe is you. Everything. Even beyond, perhaps even the universe, or even beyond what we can even know now. Right? Even if we come to know it, us just knowing it or observing it is us being intertwined with that as well. And it doesn't mean we have to be specifically knowing of things to still be influenced by them, much like how the Andromeda Galaxy pulls on us with its gravity. But, you know, a few hundred years ago, we had no idea what the fuck the Andromeda Galaxy was, or maybe before that, right? I'm, you know, not fully up to date on, you know, astronomy history. But I'm guessing at some point people had no idea what the fuck an Andromeda Galaxy was, or that it even existed. But it still influences us. Everything influences each other. And even if somehow there was some separate thing that was totally outside of the bounds of everything, change itself is inevitable, and so everything that is potential to happen will inevitably happen. Perhaps even the collision of all these things. The interaction, the intertwining. And even just by existing on whatever infinite dimension or alternate reality or outside of our system of logic, just existing is what binds us all together. Or even to have existed. To exist, to have existed, to inevitably exist, unites everything. Because to be anything instead of never being in the first place is the most absurd, most insane and crazy and weird thing ever, and that is precisely what it means to be beautiful, to be ineffable, to be infinite, forever with more potential to change and evolve into infinite new states. And everything is equal through that, and yet still unique. The beauty in the uniqueness, the necessity for weirdness, for difference. For if nothing was ever different or changed to be different, if nothing ever changed, if everything was just one thing forever, that is death. That is true death. To not change. And life is change. And everything changes. All the time. Time itself is change. Entropy is change. The changing of states, the changing of energy, the flow of energy. Panpsychism implies that energy is soul. Energy is the soul. The spiritual and the scientific were never separate. They are intertwined. But as Watts says as well, religion is divisive. It's not the best book you could give for someone. You want it to be one thing you can read and not have to read again because it's that well written, not one you have to keep repeatedly going back to because it's so fucking obscure, right? And everyone interpreting in a billion different ways and then dividing those people up based on how they interpret it and going at each other over just bullshit, you know, just going at each other over just made stuff that they made up, problems that they made up, which comes from ignorance, which comes from a lack of understanding of listening to how the world is, from analyzing how the world is. Instead, they try to tell the world how it is, instead of listening to the world to tell it how it is, to tell them how it is. When we look to trees, when we look to life, when we look to the formation of galaxies, when we look to the way in which the world is formed, in which everything is, with and without, in and out, both and neither. Not just one forever. Not just one quote-unquote best thing. Everything is its own best. Everything is its own perfect and whole, complete state, changing into different whole and complete states. Simply for existing. Simply for being. Not in how it is. Not in how it was. Not in how it will be. But that it is. That it is being. That it exists. That it shares in existing, or someday to have existed. And to have formed everything to come after. Etched into history. Everything creating more of itself. Ad infinitum. And that's why Watts 3 pages, specifically of my copy, page 13, 14, and 15, had me bawling my eyes out. Not even not even like a sixth of the way through the book. And it's already my favorite book. Even if it was just that page. So incredible. What an absolute fucking genius. We get so caught up in our made-up problems, we can't realize that it's us doing it to ourselves until we sit and we listen and we face the fear. We walk into the unknown, daringly, and with bravery. With trust that the unknown will allow you to grow even higher, to higher states of awareness, higher states of consciousness, a higher state in which you can give gratitude to all in which you are aware of. The more you're aware of means the more you can be thankful for. And to be thankful, to embrace the ineffability and the beauty of just existing, is love. And that's the answer to fucking everything. But we don't see it until it's the last path we choose to walk. Typically, we go down all the wrong paths, and us going down all the wrong paths teaches us that there's a different path to walk, a different one to try, a way in which we can refine our guess as to what is the best way to be, the best way to exist, the best way to think, or whatever, right? And then we come to realize that it's just the most simplest, obvious answer. When we listen to the world, to reality, to existence, to logic, to even other people, how it is rather than how we desperately wish it could be. We desperately wish to control what we don't understand because we are scared of what we don't understand. We are terrified until you choose to walk into the unknown and come to realize the fear was something you were playing on yourself all along. You were making yourself scared. It's currently 2:32 p.m. PST, September 17th, 2025, and it is a Wednesday. It's also currently 94 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That's how it goes in California. Alan Watts, I think, was also lived in California when he wrote this. I think, or at least the preface was, yeah. Sausalito, California, January 1966, Alan Watts. The preface was, or preface, was written in California too. So that's cool. It's just the greatest feeling of peace and gratitude and thus love. Because love is an appreciation. Love is a thank you. Love is a gift. It's a bouquet of flowers, of many different kinds of flowers and a different bouquet every time. And it's something you can give to all of everything and even yourself. You can extend it infinitely. It just takes a little bit of walking into that unknown to realize that there was nothing to be afraid of. That who you used to think was your enemy was just another friend who was terrified too, who didn't know, who was hurting themselves, who was hurting others, which are extensions of themselves. We're all extensions of each other. And I guess that's all I have to say for now. So, yeah. This is Ashley. And I am going to end this here. And I dearly hope that at least this helped one person in any way. And so, stranger of the future, I gift to you my little envelope of love. Written by and spoken with these words. Not of paper, but of sound. I give to you a piece of my being in an image of this moment to forever have happened, and to forever continue to become. Okay. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.